What's up everyone, Reggie from ReggieTECH here. I hope you're all doing well, and thanks for tuning into the channel. In today's video, we're going to be unboxing, reviewing, and testing out a really cool product. It's extremely compact, and that's why I'm so excited to see how it performs and if it's any good. And that is the Joy-Tutus Air Compressor Tire Inflator. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty you guys, so here we have the multifunctional tire inflator air compressor by Joy-Tutus. On the top of the box we do get their company name as well as their logo. On the front of the box we get the product's name as well as a nice image of the product itself. Then we get some of the specifications and main features of this product, which is that it has a copper motor, metal cylinder block, lighting, that it checks the tire pressure, it has a storage bag, a quick connector, as well as an intelligent digital display. On this side of the box we get the product's barcode as well as some specifications right here. On the back it has the same thing as the front. On the side we get some more information about each of the little specific buttons on the device, as well as the different things that we can inflate. On the box we just have a warning, and that's all. So let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box and we'll see how it looks. First thing we pull out is this really nice carrying case. I mean, it's not one of those, you know, like hard carrying cases or a zippered carrying case that has like one of those nylon kind of type of materials, but it does have an extremely soft kind of velvety feel to it. It's actually really nice, and I like this a lot. And then it has just two pull tabs up at the top so that we can nicely secure the air compressor inside of the bag. It does have their company name right there as well. That's pretty nice. Next up we do have the charging cable for this device. So we do have the little DC adapter right there, and then the USB adapter on this end. And then it tells you the model information as well as the input and the output for this device. Next up we do have some of the little accessories here. We have a extra fuse, which is always nice to have. And then we have a couple of different inflator type ports right here that we can use on various different types of things that we need to inflate. And finally inside the box we have the manual for the device, and that's going to give us all the information about the product, how to use it, best practices, and it comes in multiple different languages. Finally, we do have the air compressor itself, and it comes in a nice kind of little bubble wrap baggie here, and it's actually a really small air compressor. It's a very nice size. I appreciate the compactness of this product, and I can't wait to see how it performs. So right here on the back of the device we do have the on and off switch. It has two different modes here, and then we have the input port to get this thing powered up. We have a kind of leather band strap right here, and that's going to be used to carry this around if need be. Up at the top we do have the screen with all the button controls, and then we have some more information here in a different language. On the front of the device it looks like we have an LED light bar right there. It says the company's name. On the sides we do just see some kind of maybe airflow passageways in the device. And on the bottom we have 4 pegs to keep this thing nice and stable on whatever surface we put it on. And then inside here we have the actual pump, the pump cable. And let's pull that out. So the pump line is a pretty okay size. It's not too long, not too short. It's okay. And then we also do have a 12-volt DC cigarette adapter right here, so you can plug this right in your car and give this device power. And it comes with a pretty long cable. We'll take a look at how long exactly that cable is and if it can get around my vehicle without any issues. I do like that they put this little kind of channel here in the plastic so that while you're using it the cable can just fit right through that plastic and sit flat on the surface that you're going to be setting this down on. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get this product outside and we'll test out how it works and we'll see if it's any good. Alright, so we are now outside and I have a few things to test this little air compressor out on. First thing's gonna be a football right here. It's extremely soft, as you guys can see. Then we're gonna move over to my bike, and then we're gonna try pumping up these car tires. And for the purposes of this review, I am gonna deflate these tires and then we're gonna start pumping them up. So let's get started with this ball. And let me put this back on the tripod now. Alright guys, so one thing that is cool about this compressor, aside from its extremely small form factor, is that it has a battery built right in, and you can recharge that battery utilizing its USB port to DC port that is included with the package. When you want to use this via battery power, all you got to do is switch it to the number 1 side right there. And once we do that, it will turn right on and you'll see the LED screen light up and show you the pressure that's currently there. When we want to pump something up, and this is why this is extremely easy, all we have to do is just take out the pump, the hose right here, and once we have the hose out, we can go ahead and just choose from the different accessories. Let me take off these gloves. And for this specific instance, we're going to be using the stem attachment. If I can get it out, there we go. And once I have the stem attachment out, it's going to be working just like a regular pump. I can go ahead and just attach that to the hose like so. And once I do, we can then go ahead and click that power button just to get this to turn back on. We can insert it right into the ball, and as you guys can see, this ball is extremely low on air. So it says to inflate this to 4 to 6 pounds, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So all we're going to do is just increase the PSI on the little screen here. Let's put it at 5 pounds, 5 PSI, and then we will go ahead and click. And that was extremely quick. That's at 5. Let's go ahead and put it all the way to 6. All right. And that is it. This ball is at 6 PSI right now, and what's extremely nice about this air compressor is that it automatically stops once it reaches its PSI, the PSI that you set it to. So let's go ahead and try this out with the bike now. Alright you guys, so for the purposes of this review, I have completely flattened my bike tire. There is no pressure in there whatsoever. And the great thing about this pump, once again, is that you don't even need to have this thing connected to a power source because it has its own battery built right into it. So we're just going to be filling up this bike tire pressure all with battery power from this little pump. So once again, to do that, all we got to do is switch it to the number 1. And then we can just hook the pump hose up to the stem. And for this bike tire, I usually like to fill it up to about 60 PSI. Its maximum PSI is 65, so you're really supposed to inflate this between 40 to 65. I prefer 60 PSI to ride with, and that's what we're going to inflate it to. So once again, all we got to do is just, well, wait for the airplane to pass by. So as I was saying, all we need to do is set the PSI that we desire on the little screen here. So we're just going to click the plus button, we're gonna just keep this hold on till we get to 60 psi. And once we're at 60 psi, you'll see it blink. And all we need to do is click the power button and it will begin. And just like that, we have this tire fully inflated to 60 psi. Now this pump takes no time to inflate the tire. And as you guys can see, it is exactly 60 psi and it automatically stops. So let's go ahead and test this out on the car tires and we'll see how it works out. Alright, so you guys have seen that this, the battery inside of this little tiny air compressor works extremely well. So for the next part of this review, we're going to be using the included cord with the DC 12 volt adapter. And we're going to be seeing just how long this cord is and if it will actually work out lengthwise for my vehicle. I do have an SUV, so it's a pretty long vehicle, and we'll be seeing if that works out. Now when we plug this into the car, we don't want the car to be engine on. We just want all the electronics to be on, just because the heat will mess up the PSI readings. And we're just going to turn the key to the third little click, and that's pretty much it. Alright, and once that is plugged in, you'll see a little red light from that 12 volt cigarette adapter that is now plugged into the car. And on the air compressor itself, we are not going to be using the number 1 setting anymore. We're going to be using the number 2 setting so that we utilize the 12 volt adapter's power. So we're just going to turn it on like that, and we're going to go over to the tire right now. And you guys can already see I am all the way to my back tire over here, and the cord is the perfect length for it. Alright, so before we start, we're just going to go ahead and test the PSI. We're going to make sure that this is 100% accurate. And to do that, I have this little digital pressure gauge right here, and that's what we're going to be using to see what the PSI is currently on this tire. To turn it on, all we have to do is click this little button here. And if you guys want to check out an in-depth review on this product, just go ahead and click one of the links up in the top corner, and you guys will be able to see that. So let's go ahead and just see. And the PSI is at 30.1. And let's just check to see what the pressure on the air compressor says it's at. So we're going to click the on button. It is now on. And we are right at 30.5. Remember, this does give you a little 0.5 leeway. So we're going to pump this tire up to its designated maximum pressure, which is 35 psi. I'm just going to raise this up. And once it's at 35, we can just click power. Once again, as it reaches its designated PSI, it will automatically stop. And it is directly at 35 PSI right now. So that's pretty much it. Alright you guys, so if you have watched my two previous videos on the air compressors and tire inflators, you guys will have seen that the two Tack Life models that I tried out, they were absolutely terrible. They did not work as they were advertised, or as they should have. But this Joy Tutus one, it works just fine, and I have absolutely no issues with it. So the back tire of my car is still deflated, just because the Tack Life ones could not pump it up. So we're just gonna go ahead and pump it up using this one, and we'll see how well it does inflating a tire that's at about 22 psi right now. So I'll go ahead and get this thing hooked up to power. And once it's hooked up to power, I'm just gonna run the cable back here. And once we have it back here, we're just going to switch it to the number 2 because it's going to be using the 12-volt DC power. And just hook it up to the tire. And as you can see, it is reading 22 psi right there. And just to show you guys that that is accurate, so we'll go ahead and get out the digital tire pressure gauge and we'll turn it on. And once we do, we will set this to PSI and check the PSI. It's 21.5 right now. So it is pretty spot on. Just gonna hook this up. And then we're gonna press power and set this to the designated PSI, which is 35. And there we go. Now the tire pressure is back at 35 psi. Actually 35, yeah, actually exactly spot on to 35 psi. And we will go ahead and test that with the pressure gauge after we pull this out. And there we go. The pressure gauge is zeroed out, and we're just going to set it back to psi. And we're going to test this. And let's see, one time. Here we go, 34.7. It's right around that 35 range, and that is perfect. Alrighty guys, so we are outside and it's nighttime. I just want to show you guys how that light function works and how bright it is exactly. So let's go ahead and set the inflator down and wait for that motion light to go off. And now we're just going to be using this from battery power because it has a battery built in and we don't actually need to get this thing plugged into charge. So when we turn it on, you guys can see the beauty of that backlit display right there at nighttime. It's really, really nice and really convenient. All we need to do to turn on the LED bar is just to press and hold the R button. And once we do, that light turns on. So the light isn't insanely bright. It's not something that's gonna really, light up an entire area, but it is a very nice little spotlight to have. You can carry it around with you and put it in the direction of whatever you need to look at. It comes in extremely handy, and that's how the light looks from the front. And it's not a bad light. It's actually pretty nice. Alright you guys, so we have now finally finished testing out the Joy Tutus air compressor tire inflator. This thing is awesome. This is such a tiny little air compressor, and it does so much. I mean, you can't go wrong with this. It uses power if you need it from your vehicle using that 12-volt DC cigarette adapter. And then if you don't want to, you can charge this thing up and you can just use this standalone because it has a built-in battery. And the battery power works really well and it lasts a long time. I mean, it's completely accurate when it reads the PSI or whatever measurement you want to use to read the pressure inside of a tire or inside of a ball or whatever you inflate really. And we can compare that to other tire pressure gauges, which I did, to that digital one that I use all the time, and it's completely 100% accurate. It inflates, and once it's done inflating to your specified PSI level, it will stop automatically. And there's no fail with that. I like the fact that they did separate the two options here with this switch that goes either to number 1, which is battery power, or number 2, which is the 12-volt DC power source. And it really does allow you to differentiate what you're using when you're using it. It has a really nice USB cord that will charge this thing up, and it takes maybe about 3 hours to fully charge from a completely depleted battery, which is nice. And the USB has its own little light on it, so once it stops stops glowing red, it's completely charged. It works well, and I actually really like this product a lot, and I would definitely 100% recommend picking this up if you guys are looking for a really compact, versatile air compressor or tire inflator. This thing can really help out in a pinch. I mean, even if you don't plug this thing into your car, you can still inflate your tire just using its own battery power, and it's extremely light, has this nice little strap on the top here. It has a really long cord for the cigarette adapter, and that works really well. I have no issues with the cord. I have an SUV and it makes it all the way to the back tires without an issue. The one thing that I would say could be improved is the length of the actual hose itself for the air. I think if this was just a little bit longer, it would be a lot better. But it all depends on where the stem is located on your tire at that very moment. If it's midway or on the or close to the floor, you're gonna have no issues with this. If it's higher up or closer to your fender, then all you have to do is just basically hold this while you are pumping it up, and that's basically it. It pumps really fast. It inflates tires extremely quickly, and that's something that I'd say is a really great feature about this product. Now, aside from the tire inflator itself, and let's see if we can just get that like that. Aside from the tire inflator itself, it comes with this really nice kind of velvety bag, and although I kind of would have liked something more rugged, this is not a bad bag. It's pretty nice. It has a little flap on the inside here where it has Velcro, and you can store all the extra connections for it, all the extra stems and different types of hoses, and the extra fuse. So it's nice. I mean, it pretty much has everything that you would need in a tire inflator or an air compressor. And the added benefit of this is that it has that battery built right in, so you don't even need to plug it in necessarily. All you need to do is make sure it's charged up. And if it's not, plug it right in and you can use it. It has a nice light here on the front. It's a nice little light. I mean, it's nothing extravagant, but it is nice. So overall, I would say if you're in the market for an air compressor, or if after seeing this video and seeing how little this thing is and wanting an air compressor, I would definitely suggest picking this one up. I'll be leaving a link to it down in that description box below, so definitely go ahead and check it out. If you guys enjoyed this video and like what you saw today, go ahead and smash that like button down below, and don't forget to hit that notifications bell so that you guys are notified whenever I upload any new videos. If you guys enjoyed this type of content and want to see more content like it, consider subscribing to my channel. And if you guys have any questions or comments at all, as always, go ahead and drop them down in that comment section and I'll be quick to answer them. With all that being said, I hope you all stay well, stay safe, and stay healthy. I'll see you all next time.